Virgo. Something powerful is about to unfold. Between June 21st and 25th, you will be tested, not by the outside world, but by the universe itself. These aren't just random days. They're a soul checkpoint, designed to reveal who you are becoming. 3 signs will come, each one meant to wake you up, each one meant to either open the door to your true timeline or lock you back into a cycle you've tried to escape for years. So stay with me, because if you recognize these signs, you rise, and if you ignore them, you'll feel it in your heart, in your energy, and in your future. In this video, I'll guide you through the 3 soul signs arriving for Virgo, the hidden karmic warning behind them, and how to finally step into your divine path. Comment, "I am ready to rise." Like this video if your soul feels the shift. Subscribe now, the signs are already in motion. Virgo, June 21st to 25th is not just a date range, it's a portal, a soul checkpoint designed specifically for you. This is the solstice window, when the light is at its peak, but also when the shadows speak the loudest. And for Virgo, this alignment cuts deep, because this solstice collides with your exact energetic blueprint. It doesn't just bring clarity, it brings consequences. Every 7 years, this timeline opens, and like clockwork, it asks your soul the same question. Will you rise to the next level, or repeat the karmic loop? Look back to 2018, something in you cracked open. Maybe you lost someone, maybe you changed direction, maybe you woke up to a truth that shattered who you thought you were. That wasn't a coincidence, that was the first activation. Now, in 2025, the second activation begins. But this time, the stakes are higher, because this time, you know too much to pretend you're still asleep. This window will test you through 3 spiritual triggers. 1, forgotten emotions. Emotions you thought you healed will return, not to punish you, but to see if you respond differently now. A wave of sadness, a sudden frustration, a fear that shows up out of nowhere. These are echoes from the past, asking, have you truly let go? 2, familiar temptations. The same kind of people or patterns may reappear. An ex who suddenly reaches out, a job offer that pays well but drains your soul, a family member pulling you back into guilt or obligation. These are not accidents, they are karmic scripts, returning for a rewrite. Will you choose you this time? 3 false signs dressed as miracles. This is the trickiest test. Something beautiful might arrive, an opportunity, a compliment, a message that feels divine, but it might not be real. It could be a distraction, a delay disguised as a door. Your job is to feel, not just react. Ask, does this feel aligned in my body, or just exciting to my ego? This portal isn't about what happens around you. It's about what activates within you. If you're feeling tired lately, emotionally heavy, or strangely nostalgic, that's not burnout. That's your soul sensing the shift. Your intuition is waking up before your logic can make sense of it. And here's the real truth. This isn't just a week. It's a cosmic decision point that will echo into 2026, 2027, and even 2032. Virgo, this is why you've been pulled inward lately. This is why nothing feels normal, because you are standing at the edge of the next version of your life. And everything you've been through was preparing you for this moment. The universe doesn't test those who aren't ready, and it doesn't repeat signs unless you've ignored them before. But this time, you have a choice. And this time, the light is stronger than the loop. So breathe, stay awake, and let's move into the first sign, because the timeline is opening, and your soul is ready to remember. Here it comes, Virgo, the first sign. And it won't look mystical. It won't come with flashing lights or angel numbers. It will show up quietly as doubt, but not the obvious kind. This will be smart doubt. It will sound like logic. It will wear the mask of responsibility, and it will try to convince you that safety is smarter than soul. You'll find yourself saying things like, "I just need to be realistic. This probably isn't the right time. What if I fail again?" Sound familiar? That's the voice of the loop, trying to keep you small, trying to keep you practical instead of powerful. Virgo, here's the cosmic secret. That safe choice, that logical path, it's actually a cage, a karmic cage, built from past decisions, past fears, past patterns. But now, the universe is asking, will you listen to your soul or your survival instinct? This first test will appear in a moment that seems innocent. A job opportunity, a relationship decision, a message from the past. You'll feel both excitement and fear, both desire and hesitation. And that's the key. That moment, that hesitation, is the sign. Because what you call fear might actually be expansion. Here's how to recognize it. You'll feel a deep yes in your body, but your mind will try to talk you out of it. You'll imagine what could go right, and instantly hear all the reasons it might go wrong. You'll sense a leap, and then come up with 10 reasons to stay where you are. This is the mirror. This is the test. And the truth is, logic has its place, but your destiny won't come from what's reasonable. It comes from what's aligned. So here's your soul instruction. If your soul whispers yes, and your mind screams wait, choose the whisper, because your soul already knows where you're meant to go. It's just your mind that's catching up. And here's why this test is extra tricky for Virgo. You've been praised your whole life for being the stable one, the responsible one, the rational one. But being responsible for everyone else has made you forget how to be responsible to yourself. This is your invitation to break that, to be bold, to trust your gut before your checklist, to say yes to the unknown even if it scares you. Mini soul exercise, pause, plus, reflect. Right now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I repeating or rising? Not based on comfort, not based on other people's needs, but based on your truth. What feels aligned? What feels heavy? What feels like a mirror of your past? And what feels like a portal to your future? Write it down. Speak it out loud. Let the answer come from within. Not from fear, not from pressure, not from perfectionism. Because Virgo, this is the moment where your future self is watching and asking, will you trust me even when it makes no sense right now? This first sign, the mirror of doubt, isn't trying to break you. It's trying to show you who you really are, beneath the fears, beneath the overthinking, beneath the layers of old conditioning. And if you can stand in that mirror, see the fear, acknowledge the voice, but still say yes to your soul's whisper, you don't just pass the test, you activate a new timeline. A timeline where confidence replaces doubt, where alignment replaces anxiety, and where clarity becomes your new compass. So Virgo, don't mistake comfort for truth. Don't let the mind override the magic. And most of all, don't talk yourself out of your own breakthrough. Let's move to the second sign, because the next test comes wearing a very human face. Virgo. This next sign is subtle and deeply emotional. It doesn't come through a number. It doesn't come through a dream. It comes through a person. And at first glance, they may feel like a gift. They may show up with kindness, softness, or timing that feels almost fated. They may offer love, support, a reconnection, or even an apology. You might even think, finally, this is what I've been waiting for. But listen carefully. Not every light is divine. Not every person who returns is meant to stay, and not every connection is sacred. Some are distractions sent by karma to test your soul. This is the false savior, a person who shows up when you're most vulnerable, when you're open, when you're evolving, and they offer you what you think you need. But here's the catch, they don't come to complete you. They come to tempt you, to see if you're still attached to the version of yourself that used to need them. They might come as an ex-lover reaching out, saying they've changed, a friend who once betrayed you, now acting sweet again, a family member calling, only to pull you back into guilt. Even a new person who looks like a soulmate but drains your spirit when they're around. Here's the truth, Virgo. This test isn't about them. It's about you, and it asks one question: will you choose their comfort over your calling? Because deep down, you'll feel it. Something will feel off. Your heart might flutter, but your body will tighten. You'll hear their words, but something inside you will whisper, "Don't go back." This is when you must trust actions over energy. You've been through too much to fall for sweet words or well-timed charm. If their actions don't match their presence, they're not meant to go forward with you. Karmic warning. If you choose to save them again, if you fall into the trap of being their healer, their emotional home, their unpaid therapist, you delay your path. You hit the pause button on your own destiny. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: you are not their healer anymore. Maybe you were in the past. Maybe you played that role before. But this version of you, the one who is rising into power, into clarity, into purpose, does not belong in the rescue cycle anymore. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. Because when you constantly save someone who refuses to grow, you teach your soul that your growth doesn't matter. Virgo, your compassion is your superpower. But unguarded compassion becomes self-destruction. You have nothing to prove. You are allowed to love someone and let them go. You are allowed to forgive someone and keep your distance. You are allowed to wish someone healing without sacrificing your peace. This sign is about reclaiming your emotional boundaries, because the universe isn't testing you to break your heart. It's testing you to guard it better. So when that person shows up, and you'll know who it is, breathe. Don't react. Observe. Ask yourself, do they support your growth or pull you into the past? Do they bring peace or confusion? Do they honor your energy or just want your energy? And then trust the truth, not the nostalgia, not the fantasy, not the potential. Because Virgo, if you fall for the false savior again, you reset the test. But if you honor yourself, if you hold the boundary, you create space for the true soul connection to arrive, the one that doesn't drain you, the one that doesn't confuse you, the one that meets you where you are, not where you used to be. Let this sign be your reminder. You don't need to rescue anyone to feel worthy. You don't need to sacrifice your healing for someone else's comfort, and you don't need to feel guilty for protecting your energy. You are not selfish. You are sacred, and you have every right to say, "I'm choosing me now." So watch for this sign, the person who shows up like an answer, but secretly pulls you off your path. They're not evil, they're just misaligned. And your job is to recognize that with love and walk away with grace. Because the next phase of your soul journey doesn't need saving. It needs space, it needs peace, and it needs you. Fully present, fully clear, and finally free. Let's move to the third sign, Virgo. The one that doesn't come from someone else, but rises from deep within, Virgo. This is the most powerful sign, and the hardest to face. Because the third sign isn't someone else, it's you. It doesn't knock on the door. It doesn't send a text. It doesn't appear with angel numbers or coincidences. It rises from within, like a tidal wave you didn't expect. Around June 24th, you may feel it, that sudden heaviness, the exhaustion that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from emotional overload, anxiety without a clear reason, a strange sadness, a familiar pain, a quiet sense of, I don't know what's wrong, but something feels off. That is the karmic shadow, and it's rising for release. Virgo, this isn't weakness, this isn't depression, this is the soul's purge. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. Because the deeper truth is this: you've been holding so much for so long. You've carried responsibilities that were never yours. You've ignored your own pain to protect others. You've stayed strong even when no one asked how you were doing. And now, the weight has become too heavy, not to punish you, but to free you. The storm is here not to drown you, but to cleanse you. And in this part of the journey, there's no one to save you, no one to blame, no one to fix it, because this is your sacred release. So if the tears come, let them. If the anger comes, scream into a pillow. If the sadness floods your chest, breathe into it. Don't run. Don't numb it with distractions. Don't shame yourself for feeling too much. This is the moment the universe watches closely, because how you move through this emotional storm will determine whether you repeat the cycle or rewrite your fate. If you run, suppress, deny, the storm will return. But if you feel it, honor it, sit with it, you pass the test. This is where the most powerful Virgos rise, in silence, in solitude, in surrender. Because when everything feels like it's falling apart, that's when your soul gets rebuilt. If you can pass through this wave without running, you unlock your next soul timeline. A timeline where you no longer attract emotional vampires, you no longer overgive to be accepted, you no longer carry guilt for choosing yourself. This emotional wave is sacred. It's not your enemy. It's your portal. Your nervous system is adjusting. Your heart is recalibrating. Your intuition is activating in ways your logical mind can't yet explain. So don't ask, why do I feel this way? Ask, what is this trying to release from me? Ask, what version of me is finally dying so the next one can live? Journal it. Walk barefoot on the earth. Turn off your phone. Breathe with your hand over your heart. Let the storm come. Because storms only visit the ones strong enough to stand through them. And Virgo, you weren't meant to escape this. You were chosen to endure it so you could become the guide for others who are still lost in their shadows. You are the mirror, the alchemist, the sacred space where pain becomes wisdom. So when the storm comes, don't fight it. Feel it, welcome it, move through it like the divine force you are. Because your healing, your real healing, doesn't begin when things are perfect. It begins when you allow yourself to be whole even in the chaos. And on the other side of that chaos is clarity, peace, emotional freedom. So let this sign remind you, you are allowed to feel everything. You are allowed to collapse for a moment. You are allowed to cry without explaining yourself, because the strongest ones, the wisest ones, the most awakened ones, are the ones who've learned to sit with themselves in their darkest hour and say, I will not abandon me. So Virgo, this storm is not your ending. It's your transformation. Let it come. Let it shake everything loose that you were never meant to hold. And when the clouds finally part, you'll rise not as the version of you the world expects, but as the version your soul chose to become. Now take a deep breath. The worst is almost over. And the next part of this journey is where the magic begins. Virgo, you've been tested. You've stood in front of the mirror of doubt. You've faced the false savior. You've walked through the emotional storm. And if you've made it here, if you've truly seen the signs and responded from your soul, then this is where everything begins to shift. Because if you recognize and pass these 3 signs, here's what unlocks for you: a new soulmate or a higher version of love. The kind that doesn't drain you. The kind that doesn't make you prove your worth. The kind of connection where you feel safe to grow, seen without performing, and loved without shrinking. It may not look like what you expected, but it will feel like home. This love will arrive not as a rescue, but as a reflection of the version of you that chose healing over chaos. A surprising opportunity aligned with purpose, not just a job, not just a promotion, but something that pulls you forward because it's in sync with your soul's calling. It could be a creative idea, a business offer, a collaboration, or a shift you've been avoiding for years. The universe clears space for this opportunity only when you stop settling for what drains you. And once you do, things start showing up almost magically. Mental clarity after months of fog, the overthinking, the second guessing, the constant loops of what if, they begin to fade, not because the world changes, but because you changed your inner alignment. The fog lifts when you stop abandoning your intuition, and clarity becomes your new baseline, a feeling of deep peace that you forgot was possible. Peace that doesn't come from checking off a to-do list. Peace that doesn't depend on other people behaving a certain way. This is soul peace. It comes when you finally release what's not yours, when you stop carrying pain that was never meant to stay this long, when you stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix, Virgo. This is the reward, not given to you like a prize, but unlocked from within when you choose alignment over fear. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Most people don't pass these signs. They see the mirror and retreat back into safety. They meet the false savior and get pulled off track. They feel the emotional storm and shut down, but not you. Not this time. This time, you knew something deeper was happening. This time, you didn't run. You paused, you felt, you rose, and now the portal opens. And when it does, your soul gets to rewrite the story. Not the story others gave you. Not the story your past tried to tattoo onto your worth, but the story your future self has been waiting for you to remember. In this new timeline, you stop settling for almost. You stop clinging to people who confuse your spirit. You stop apologizing for choosing peace, and something wild happens. You begin attracting what you stopped chasing. You begin remembering your own power. You begin living from soul, not survival. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about never feeling pain again. This is about returning to yourself and never leaving again. So what comes next? People may fall away. Old habits may feel uncomfortable. You might feel lonely for a moment. But that's only because your soul is making space. Because Virgo, the universe never takes without giving something better. But you must hold the line long enough to receive it. Do not go back to what broke you just because it's familiar. Do not shrink to fit a version of you that no longer exists. Do not let fear trick you into thinking you're not ready. You are ready. You passed the test. And now you stand before the gate of your future, not just spiritually, but energetically. Every thought, every choice, every yes or no you give from this point forward writes your new reality. So take a breath, place your hand on your heart, and repeat silently. I am stepping into the timeline my soul was made for. Because you are. And now, as we move into the final message, just know what you feel opening inside you right now. That's not just hope. That's your future calling you. Forward, Virgo. This was never just about astrology. This was never just about signs, planets, or predictions. This was about you, your return to your strength, to your worth, to your soul. Because the truth is, your soul didn't come here to play small. It didn't come to constantly question itself. It didn't come to stay stuck in fear, guilt, or doubt. It came here to remember the healer you are, to remember the light you carry, to remember that you were never meant to live in the shadows of other people's expectations. And now, the choice is yours. You've seen the signs, you've felt the shifts, you've heard the whispers. If you ignore them, you repeat the lesson. The cycle resets, the patterns return, and the next 7 years become another echo of the past. But if you rise, if you trust, if you say yes to your soul, even when it's hard, you unlock the version of you that was always meant to lead. You become the healer, the guide, the one others look to when the world feels dark, not because you're perfect, but because you chose to keep rising when it would have been easier to shrink. This is your final invitation. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth. Stop replaying stories where you always come last. You are not here to be a background character in your own life. You are here to create, to reclaim, to rise. So Virgo, take one final breath. Feel that energy rising in your chest. That's your soul remembering its mission. Now step forward. Not with fear, but with clarity, with power, with peace. Comment: I accept the Virgo soul signs. Like if this message touched something deep inside you. Subscribe for more. Virgo soul prophecies. Share this with another Virgo. The signs are calling them too. Your timeline has opened. Now, walk through the portal. Galaxy.